Hello everybody, I'm Alexei Korobrov, the organizer of SF Scala Meetup, and we are back at Tradeshift. We've been here a while ago talking about Akka, and so we're excited to be back. We have a great meetup tonight. We have Bill Venners, the co-author of the Scala book and creator of Scala Test, unveiling new features of Scala Test, and we have Magnus from Tradeshift, who will talk about Tradeshift. Magnus, thank you for having us here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I understand you're originally from Denmark, and this is where Tradeshift also has offices. Can you tell us a little bit about Tradeshift? Why is it globally distributed? What does it do?
Yes, so Tradeshift, they started in Denmark, 3 founders, and then they slowly grew in Denmark, and then later they expanded to San Francisco and grew a new office, the headquarters in San Francisco, while also maintaining a very big office in Copenhagen. And then last year we also started opening offices multiple places like Bucharest. So there we also have a huge development office. We have huge development office in Suzhou in China. We have in London, in France, and lots of other places. We have many offices now, but the main development offices are in San Francisco, Copenhagen, Bucharest, and China.
So really cool. So what is the main product? Why do you need so many developers? What do they do?
So the main product is Tradeshift Pay. So it's essentially e-invoicing, so business to business invoicing, and we're kind of opening a lot of more branches there. So Procure to Pay, Tradeshift Buy, and myself, I'm working on the product called Tradeshift Go, which is a virtual credit card, basically.
Interesting. So I mean, like most people just pay, as customers to retailers, right? Like there is banks, there is all kind of credit cards and PayPal and stuff like that. So why do businesses need a special platform like Tradeshift?
So if we take for Tradeshift Go, which is a product I'm working on right now, there are many reasons for this. First of all, the one I think is super important is for fraud. So instead of just having one credit card that you use for multiple places, if that one gets hacked or leaked somewhere, then essentially anyone can use it, and you'll have to close it down, and that's a huge pain. So what we offer here is actually creating new virtual cards based on a credit card that has a single purpose. For example, buying an umbrella online, using it for buying stuff for a party, subscriptions and stuff like that. And it's basically only for that use, and you can get it pre-authorized from your manager, and you get all the settlements in on Go after that. So essentially, if someone else gets access to that credit card, there's no real damage for that because it can only be used for a very specific thing. So the risk is much smaller.
Cool. And in terms of business to business invoicing, are there any kind of typical uses, like supply chain users? Like what's the kind of typical customer of Tradeshift? What does it look like?
So the typical customer of Tradeshift are the big enterprises who have a lot of suppliers, and here you can have the big flow. So first of all, it's all about removal of paper invoices. So all the documents are electronically sent. And then they're validated at Tradeshift sites, sent to the correct department at the company, and approved or sent back for more information there.
Okay. I'm curious, I don't think I've met Danish startups before. I think I've met Swedish startup, which is Spotify. So what can you tell me a little bit about startup culture in Denmark, like where these founders came from? It's interesting to me, like what kind of motivated them, like how typical it is to do startups. We don't meet many Danish startups here. Yeah, so
that definitely is not as big a startup scene in Denmark, but we have a few big players. So Tradeshift is definitely one of the very big players in Denmark. And of course we have the big players like Unity, Trustpilot. We have a few others also that are really big. And then the small startups, which maybe have 20, 30 employees, but are generally growing there. The startup scene is essentially, we have most centered in Copenhagen, but the second largest city, Aarhus, is also a growing hub where Tradeshift is actually also opening an office now.
Do the founders come from computer science background, a business background? Like how is computer science kind of seen there?
It's very different. I think for Tradeshift, there's both a computer science background, there's actually a music background, business background. I think in the end, it's a lot about getting the idea and then going for the execution, finding the right partners, and then going in there. So the background can be a lot of different people actually. And today in computer science, you don't necessarily need a background in computer science to enter the market. We have a lot of people without a computer science degree here.
Right, it's mostly like learning on the job, right? This is what we do at the meetups.
Exactly.
You know, we come here and we like people learn from each other. So
Yeah.
so that's kind of, we find that's why folks, you know, go after work, they spend their time because they don't teach this stuff. It's cool. So, and in terms of headquarters, is it still in Copenhagen, the main office of Tradeshift?
So the main development office is still in Copenhagen. There are most developers in the Copenhagen, and they are also maintaining the paid product in Copenhagen. So that's definitely a very, very big development office there.
Cool. And I think last time we've been here, we really did a lot of work, talked about Akka in microservices, because I think then Tradeshift was getting into Akka and kind of Akka in Java and Akka in Scala. So how is the engineering set up now? You guys are still using Scala and Akka, and this is still working out for you?
Yeah, so the products we used back then, I think 2 years ago, they are still using Akka, and I don't maybe one more product has started using Akka, but we're not that involved in it yet. But yeah, we have Akka both for Scala and Java right now. So we still have Akka development here in San Francisco, and we also have some Akka development in Copenhagen.
And what's the rest of the stack? And talk a little bit how your stack looks like.
Yeah, so the stack otherwise or in Akka?
Software, yeah, I mean everything, like just like how is everything's architected?
So the main the normal component in Tradeshift is usually a Java component, probably with some Spring in it, and then just usually with some REST interface there. A database, Postgres. Usually we also have some Elasticsearch for some components. We have caching. And otherwise, we are trying to embed this microservice setup. So we had a big monolith repository, and we're just splitting that out to many smaller ones there, so we can scale those individually, but still talk together and scale everything better.
Nice. That sounds like a very good setup. Like we have a lot of folks doing similar things. Yeah. So that's very cool. Cool. Well, thank you so much. We're looking forward to your talk, and thanks for having us here.
You're welcome, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.